Hey everybody, if you are wanting to change one or more habits and you're having trouble doing that, then this is going to be a very useful lesson for you. My name is Hicks. If you don't know who I am, we do mental health coaching. I'm founder of mentalhealthcoaching.com. I used to be suicidal and have been depression free for about 17 years, and we make these lessons and videos because we want you to have the great mental health you deserve. You just got to learn the skills necessary to make that happen. So today we're talking about particularly changing habits as well as willpower. So this story that prompted me to put this little lesson together is I had a client recently. She's graduated from our program. She's doing fantastic. She was suicidal just a couple of months ago, and now she's been depression free for going on 3 months, doing really well. And not only that, but a big part of her journey was she was previously using alcohol in extreme excess to kind of mask her feelings. And she's been sober now for a good while, I think at least 6 weeks now. And now that she has gotten rid of the feelings of depression, the urge to drink has become less and less and less so over time. And so there was a very important session that she and I had where we kind of learned where she needed to focus her energy to create the change that she needed to. So when she was going through the program, she realized that there were a series of different habits that she needed to break. So habits of thought, habits of asking herself negative questions that were going to cause herself to feel bad, habits of using certain words that would trigger her to feel anxious or depressed, habits, of course, in terms of her actual behavior. And at one point, she realized that the drinking was really kind of causing her to have these little mini relapses. So she would go like 2 to 3 weeks, she'd make a lot of progress, but then she would just be like, oh, I could have one drink, and then it would kind of peel right back. And so she realized that if she didn't get the alcohol under control, it was going to be pretty challenging for her to complete the program and move forward. And so she, at the time, was trying to implement like 3 or 4 different things I had instructed her to do. But what we realized is that the biochemical, the physical like addiction to the alcohol, the urge from the physical body to consume the alcohol was so strong that what we had to do was make it so that that was the only thing she was exercising her willpower on until she was able to physically train her body to no longer desire the alcohol. So the way this would apply to you is very often what people do is they try to change too much at once. And I've been the victim, well, not the victim, I hate the word victim. I've done this to myself many times before, where I'll feel dissatisfied and frustrated in one area of my life, and I'll go, you know what? I'm going to reinvent the entire area of my life. I'm going to change every single thing about it. And I get this whole big list of goals out, and I say, yep, I'm going to do all 8 of these things starting tomorrow. And then the next day, maybe I'm able to do all 8 of those things for like a day, maybe 2, right? But typically it becomes very, very challenging to make that happen. And what I learned years ago is a much better way to go about it is outline every single habit that you need to change. Yes, have like that big master list. But then what you want to do is you want to figure out either one of 2 approaches. One approach you can do is you can say, okay, which one of these habit changes, if I really stuck to this and committed to this, would give me the highest leverage, meaning if I just did this one action, it would give me the biggest gains in my mental health. Right? Or if I did this one change, it would improve my relationship the most, or it would improve my finances the most, or whatever. If I stopped spending money here, that would help things dramatically over here, right? Is kind of the way that you want to go about it. So look for leverage is one way you can do it, and pick one habit to change at any given time. The second approach is kind of the scaling up approach, where you start really, really small, so that way you can just get a little bit of progress, and you can feel assured that, hey, look at this, I can actually do this, I can change habits, I can make this happen. So for example, let's say one of the things you need to do, I just put a lesson out about this several weeks ago called the daily habits you need to stay depression free. One of them is waking up at the same time every day is a really good habit to do, particularly if you've been having a very variable sleep schedule. It's a very good first thing to do. So that one's pretty easy, relatively speaking, right? As opposed to like going and doing a physical workout in the morning or making yourself a nutritious breakfast, right? Things of that nature. So if you can just allocate your willpower for that one particular section, that one habit at a time, and then stick to that for about 14 days. 10 to 14 days is kind of what I've found works really well. If you can just do that for 2 weeks, then you won't really have to utilize your willpower reserves in order to train yourself to do that thing. Now it will become physical mastery, right? It will go from being something that you have to kind of remind yourself, like, nope, I'm doing this, I'm getting this done, to being something that just happens. It just automatically happens. And so then you can allocate your willpower reserves for a different habit. See, because this is what they found through studies. They're literally documented studies that show this. Your willpower is limited, but it is a muscle. Think of it like a muscle. You can grow the muscle, but even if you've got really, really strong muscles, right, you can only lift so much weight before the muscle becomes fatigued and it can't lift anymore. So they did this, they figured this out because what they did was they would take people into a room and they would use a device that would cause a little bit of pain on the finger. So it would kind of pinch your finger. And if they pinched your finger a small amount, and then they had you, I think what it was they pinched your finger and then they had you sit in front of a room full, not a room full, a room with a plate full of cookies in it. And they were trying to see how long people could wait eating the cookies and how many cookies they would end up eating. And what they realized is the more pain they would end up exerting on the person's finger, the faster the person went to eating the cookies and the more cookies they ate. The less pain, the longer they were able to wait. So because they had more willpower, right? If you burn up your willpower kind of focusing on, oh gosh, this pain, and I got to get through this pain, then you're not going to have as much willpower the very next moment when you got to resist a cookie. So for my client, when she was trying to change 4 different things, one of them being her drinking, it was too much. She wasn't able to do all of them. So what we did is we said, look, let's just find the highest leverage thing you need to do. That's getting rid of the alcohol. Like, just draw the line in the sand. Don't go into the liquor store. And we devised a whole plan for her using a decision-making process I teach. But the key element of it was that was the only thing she had to focus on for a couple weeks, right? And then once that urge kind of went away and became much easier, then we stacked another decision and another decision and another habit change on top of it. And that's really what it means to take control of the conditioning process of the brain, right? That's why my process is very different than, say, traditional therapy, because we're helping people learn how to retrain the brain over time so that you sustainably get the right habits into your nervous system so that you feel how you want to feel, you think how you want to think, you behave how you want to behave to live the life that you want to live. Right? So if you're taking on too much, this is just a friendly reminder to try to figure out what is the singular habit or decision that you could stick to. Just decide you're going to stick to that, take action on it, make a system for it, schedule it, whatever you need to do to really truly draw the line in the sand, get some accountability if you need to. Post something publicly, so you get the accountability, whatever you need to do. There's all sorts of hacks to get yourself to follow through. But follow through on that, muster your willpower for those 2 weeks, and then as soon as the willpower is no longer required, you can move on to the next iterative habit. And that's how you can really develop the life that you want, as long, just slowly but surely. And then it becomes a part of your identity. You don't even have to think about it anymore. Okay. So I would love to hear in the comments, what is the singular decision you're going to stick to and utilize your willpower on? And, just go ahead and get to it, get going, and make sure that you, piece by piece, make your mental health the way that you want it. So thanks for tuning in. As always, hope this was useful to you. Let us know what you have to say in the comments, and I'll be excited to see you in the next episode. See you soon. Bye.